Ever wondered how different our world would be without the events of World War II? A simple question, yet one that holds within its grasp a multitude of elements that shaped the world as we know it. World War II was not just a war, it was a global event that changed the course of history, molding the present and the future. Its impacts, both tangible and intangible, are still felt today. Join us as we journey into the heart of one of history's most pivotal moments. World War II was more than a battle of armies, it was a clash of ideologies. The political landscape that led to the outbreak of the war was complex and multifaceted. At the heart of it all was a dangerous cocktail of economic despair, nationalistic fervor, and ideological extremism. In the aftermath of World War I, several nations were left economically devastated and politically unstable. This instability gave rise to radical political movements, most notably fascism. In Italy, Benito Mussolini seized power, promising to restore Italy to its former glory. Similarly, in Germany, Adolf Hitler and his National Socialist German Workers' Party, or the Nazi Party, capitalized on the economic hardships and societal unrest to ascend to power. The rise of fascism was a crucial factor that set the stage for World War II. Simultaneously, the policy of appeasement played a significant role in paving the way for the war. Major powers like Britain and France, still reeling from the devastating effects of World War I, adopted a policy of appeasement in an attempt to prevent another war. They allowed Hitler to annex Austria and the Sudetenland in Czechoslovakia, hoping that these concessions would satisfy his territorial ambitions. However, this policy only emboldened Hitler and set a dangerous precedent. The League of Nations, established after World War I, to promote peace and prevent international disputes from escalating into war, also played a role. Despite its noble intentions, the League was largely ineffective. It lacked the power to enforce its decisions, and was unable to prevent the aggressive actions of fascist regimes. The political landscape leading up to World War II was a complex web of economic turmoil, political extremism, and failed diplomacy. All these factors combined to create a volatile situation that eventually exploded into the most devastating war in human history. The war was not just a fight for territory, but for the future direction of humanity. The world was the stage, nations the actors, and the script was written in blood and iron. The theater of war in World War II was vast, spanning continents, and the sea and sky were as much the battlefields as the land itself. Let's take a closer look at some of the defining battles and strategic decisions that shaped the course of this global conflict, and the turning points that tipped the balance of power from one side to the other. The Battle of Stalingrad is a stark reminder of the brutality of war. It was the deadliest battle in human history, fought in the harsh Russian winter. The city was a strategic target for Hitler's plan to cripple the Soviet Union's ability to produce military equipment. However, the resilience of the Russian soldiers and civilians turned the tide. The German army was ill-prepared for the severe winter conditions and the determined Soviet resistance. The battle ended in February 1943 with a decisive Soviet victory. It marked a significant turning point in the war, marking the beginning of a series of defeats for Germany on the Eastern Front. On the other side of the world, the Pacific theater was a clash of titans. The Battle of Midway, fought in June 1942, was a decisive naval battle that turned the tide in the Pacific War. The United States, capitalizing on its intelligence breakthroughs, managed to ambush and destroy 4 Japanese aircraft carriers, dealing a blow to Japan's naval superiority, from which it never fully recovered. And then, there was D-Day, the largest amphibious invasion in history, which marked the beginning of the end for the Axis powers in Europe. On June 6, 1944, over 150,000 Allied troops stormed the beaches of Normandy, France. Despite heavy casualties, the invasion was a success, leading to the liberation of Western Europe from Nazi control. D-Day demonstrated the effectiveness of coordinated Allied strategies and set the stage for the final push into Germany. But the war was not just a series of battles. It was a complex web of strategic decisions, political alliances, and technological advancements. It was a chess game on a global scale, with each move potentially altering the course of history. From the decision to use atomic bombs on Japan, hastening the end of the war but at a terrible human cost, to the Holocaust, a horrific genocide that took the lives of 6 million Jews, the war was marked by moments of profound significance. In the grand theater of war, every decision carried the weight of life and death. The world watched as nations clashed, alliances shifted, and the course of human history was irrevocably altered. The echoes of these battles and the decisions that drove them still resonate today, a testament to the indelible mark left by World War II on the tapestry of our shared history. And that's why it's crucial we never forget. In the grand theater of war, every decision carried the weight of life and death. But beneath the politics and the strategy, there were the people, the real victims of the war. It's easy to get caught up in the grandness of World War II, with its sweeping battles and high-stakes diplomacy, but at its core, this was a human tragedy. It was a time of immense suffering, of lives lost and families shattered, leaving scars that would take generations to heal. Every conflict has its casualties, but World War II was unparalleled in its human cost. It is estimated that between 70 and 85 million people perished as a result of the war, amounting to nearly 3% of the world's population at the time. This staggering number includes both military personnel and civilians, with civilians making up more than half of the total deaths. The scale of the devastation is hard to fully grasp, with cities leveled and communities decimated. The atrocities of the Holocaust stand out as one of the most horrific chapters of human history. 6 million Jews were systematically murdered by the Nazis, their lives extinguished in concentration camps, ghettos, and mass shootings. But it wasn't just Jews who were targeted. Millions of others, including Romani people, Poles, disabled individuals, and political dissidents, also fell victim to the Nazis' genocidal policies. The Holocaust was a stark reminder of the depths to which humanity can sink when hatred and prejudice are allowed to flourish. But the human impact of World War II wasn't just measured in death tolls. It was seen in the countless lives forever altered by the conflict. Families were torn apart, with fathers and sons sent off to fight, mothers and daughters left to pick up the pieces at home. Children grew up in the shadow of war, their innocence stolen by the harsh realities of conflict. Communities were uprooted, their homes reduced to rubble, their sense of security shattered. The war also left a profound psychological impact. Soldiers returned home bearing the invisible scars of battle, grappling with trauma that would later be recognized as post-traumatic stress disorder. Civilians, too, struggled with the aftermath of the war, dealing with grief, loss, and the daunting task of rebuilding their lives. The war brought about massive displacement, with millions of people forced to leave their homes in search of safety. The end of the war didn't necessarily mean the end of their suffering, as many found themselves stateless, their homes destroyed or occupied by others. World War II was a cataclysmic event that shook the world to its core. It was not just a military or political event, but a humanitarian crisis on an unprecedented scale. It served as a stark reminder of the high cost of conflict, of the immense suffering that can result when nations clash. The war was not only a clash of nations, it was a tragedy of human suffering. When the dust settled and the guns fell silent, the world was forever changed. The echoes of World War II were not confined to the immediate years following the conflict. They reverberated through the decades, shaping the contours of the world as we know it today. In the immediate aftermath, the map of Europe was redrawn in ways that would have profound implications for the rest of the 20th century. Germany, the aggressor nation that had sparked the conflagration, was divided into 4 zones of occupation. The United States, Britain, France, and the Soviet Union each took control of a section, turning Germany into a patchwork quilt of influence and control. This division was meant to be temporary, but as East and West grew apart, the Iron Curtain came down, and Germany became a divided nation. The Federal Republic of Germany in the West, and the German Democratic Republic in the East. This division was a stark symbol of the emerging Cold War, a conflict of ideologies that would dominate global politics for the next 4 decades. But the end of World War II also marked the beginning of an era of international cooperation. The United Nations was established in 1945, born out of the ashes of the war. Its goal was to prevent such a devastating conflict from happening again, to maintain international peace and security, and to foster social progress. Today, the United Nations continues to play a significant role in global affairs, a testament to the lasting impact of World War II. In the aftermath of the war, nations had to grapple with the physical, emotional, and psychological scars left by the conflict. Cities lay in ruins, economies were shattered, and millions were displaced. It was a time of rebuilding, of healing, but it was also a time of reckoning. War crime trials were held, most notably the Nuremberg trials, to bring those responsible for the horrors of the Holocaust and other atrocities to justice. These trials were not just about punishment, they were about establishing a record, about bearing witness to the darkest chapters of human history. World War II also spurred significant technological advancements that continue to shape our world. From the development of nuclear energy and the atomic bomb to advances in medicine, communication, and transportation, the war ignited a technological revolution that has continued to this day. The end of the war was not the end of the story, but the beginning of a new chapter. The aftermath of World War II was a period of profound change and transformation. It was a time of division and unity, of destruction and rebuilding, of justice and accountability. It was a time when the world had to confront the cost of war and the price of peace. And it was a time that set the stage for the world we live in today. The echoes of World War II continue to reverberate, reminding us of our past and shaping our future. World War II left a legacy that continues to shape our world today. The conclusion of the war saw the emergence of two global superpowers, the United States and the Soviet Union, who would dominate international politics for the next several decades. This era, known as the Cold War, was characterized by a tense standoff between these two nations and their respective allies, as they vied for ideological, economic, and military supremacy. The United States, with its industrial might untouched by the devastation of war, became the world's leading economic power. Its influence spread across the globe, cementing its status as a superpower. Meanwhile, the Soviet Union, despite the heavy toll the war had taken, expanded its territory and influence across Eastern Europe, setting the stage for a global struggle between capitalism and communism. But the legacy of World War II wasn't confined to the rise of superpowers. It also catalyzed a wave of decolonization across Africa and Asia. As European powers were weakened by the war, their colonial subjects seized the opportunity to fight for their freedom and self-determination. This led to a significant reshaping of the world map as dozens of new nations emerged, each with its own unique challenges and aspirations. In the Middle East, the creation of the State of Israel in the aftermath of the Holocaust marked another significant consequence of the war. The establishment of a Jewish homeland was seen as a necessary refuge for survivors of the Holocaust, but it also led to decades of conflict and tension in the region, the effects of which are still felt today. World War II also led to significant advancements in technology and science. The war had necessitated rapid developments in areas such as nuclear technology, jet propulsion, and computing. These breakthroughs didn't just revolutionize warfare. They also laid the foundation for many aspects of our modern life, from air travel to the digital age. Finally, the war's legacy can also be seen in the establishment of international institutions and norms. The United Nations was founded in the wake of World War II, with the aim of preventing such a devastating conflict from happening again. The principles of human rights and international law were further developed and codified, reflecting a global commitment to peace and justice. The echoes of World War II can still be heard in the world today, a testament to its lasting impact. So, what does World War II mean for us today? It serves as a stark reminder of the catastrophic consequences when diplomacy fails and extremism takes root. A time when the world was enveloped in darkness, it underscores the value of peace and the lengths we should go to preserve it. The war also highlights the fragility, yet the preciousness of human life. Millions of lives were lost, each with their own stories, dreams, and potential. A sobering thought that should guide our actions and decisions. The aftermath of World War II showed us that even from the ashes of destruction, resilience can spring forth. Nations rebuilt from the ruins, societies transformed, and the world moved forward, albeit scarred and forever changed. These lessons from a bygone era are not just relics of the past, but guideposts for the future. As we remember World War II, we are reminded of our shared humanity and our capacity for both destruction and resilience.